Welcome to a One Tricks Breakdown. Here on a One Tricks Breakdown, we take a high elo One Tricks game, bring them on, and have them explain their thought process in one of their matches. On our first episode, we are looking at the champion Vi, and we're reviewing myself, Klassicalkill. We're going to be reviewing one of the games I played in Diamond 3. Before the game starts, I need to determine what playstyle I'm choosing on Vi. I play two playstyles on this champ. One is Assassin Vi and one is Bruiser Vi. Assassin takes Electrocute and Bruiser takes Conquer. Preferably, I want Assassin Vi though, because this makes carrying easier in a solo queue environment, but sometimes the game calls for a Bruiser. What I choose depends on my team comp. Assassin Vi works best with champs that have setup, think like Galio, Ari, Nautilus. This game I have a Kennen and an Annie, so I go Assassin this game. The next step in draft that I try to consider is all the abilities that can stop me and who I can target. Assassin Vi is like hard countered by CC, but she can like delete squishies. This game with Viego, his R can buffer my CC, his W can cancel my Q charge up. In most cases, he's going to beat you in a duel. He can really mess you up by buffering your Q or your R. He can buffer your auto attack E when he ults away. It can be really messy trying to fight him. With Set, his W can stop my burst. His E can cancel my Q. His R can also cancel my Q. And his ult can also buffer my CC. So like if I try to Q him, mid Q, he can ult and cancel the CC effect. And the same thing with my ultimate. If he ults me as I'm ulting him, he can actually just like straight up cancel the CC effect. I'll still deal with the damage, but he can just cancel the CC. I usually tend to stay away from Set early game because his base stacks are like extremely strong and he can just straight up kill you 1v1. I never really find myself engaging on him in this game unless like he's extremely vulnerable. For example, if he's almost dead or he's in a really bad position and I can punish him. With Hecarim, he has speed to dodge your Q and his R to fear you. He can combo you to death if you're low enough with his R. He can also buffer your ult CC with his R. If you can land Q on him, he will most likely just straight up die. With Veigar, his cage is hard to play around because you can't Q through it, you can't ult through it because it will CC you. In the late game, his burst can also one-shot you, so you have to be very careful approaching his range once you're in the late game. You can avoid his cage with a flash, like to try to outplay him. And as long as you dodge his W, you most likely can beat him 1v1 and just kill him relatively easily. The key with him is like you have to wait for his cooldowns to be down because he's got like longer cooldowns, especially his E, and then you can all in. However, like once it gets to late game, his cooldowns get really short. So if there's a Veigar on the enemy team, you don't want to let the game last for too long. With Blitzcrank, of course, his Q is always going to be a threat to misposition you. His Q can cancel your Q charge, so like if you're Q charging, he can pull you out of it and it will just cancel it. However, what I like to do is I like to use my Q to just dodge his hook. That kind of makes like a little game for him to play where he can try to predict which side you're going to Q, but he's also got to predict like the range of your Q, so it's an insanely hard hit to land. His E can also cancel your Q charge up, so if he pulls you and then you Q too early, he can just simply cancel your Q right away. So against Blitzcrank, if you do get hooked, you never want to Q right away because his E's just going to knock you up and cancel your Q. Ults can also cancel your Q charge up. So he kind of forces you to stay on top of him if he Qs you for at least like 3 to 4 seconds. Because if you try to Q in between any of those times, he will cancel it and then you'll be stuck there even longer. So the best thing to do is if he Qs you, you kind of just have to wait out his CC and then try to move like flash or Q away. And also in this build I typically get stopwatch, so if he does like Q you, spam stopwatch and you can probably get out. By himself, he's no real threat to you. He's only dangerous when he has Q up and he's nearby and like an ally of his, so he can pull you into someone like that is dangerous and you'll die. If you can catch him alone trying to get vision, you can easily punish him and kill him. You can catch out supports very easily, like pushing into dangerous territory, and you can just sit in a bush and they'll walk straight into your Q and you'll just kill them, and this will make like every single objective fight immensely easier. This is a great like play to make in this type of game. The next step is going to be my plan. My plan this game is to typically full clear towards the lane that's going to give me prio. So this now all comes down to like my matchup knowledge of the game. I know that Set beats Alawi early, but once Alawi gets like her levels, she can start shoving the lane and she'll give me prio. However, in the early game, you don't want to be pathing towards an Alawi because she's relatively weak in the early game. So that kind of eliminates my option of like going full clear up to here, because if Hecarim is full clearing also here, we lose the 2v2. So if you look at our bot lane, Sivir Annie versus Blitzcrank and Veigar. Veigar is very weak early. He doesn't have his AP scaling yet with his passive. Sivir counters Blitzhook, and she tends to push lanes early on really hard. So this is probably the lane I want to go to in the early game because it's going to give me priority. So on this side, I rarely go like for a blue side clearing down into the bot side, simply because clearing blue forces me to just go in one direction, whereas clearing red gives me multiple options in the game. So in this game, I'd most likely opt for doing like a reverse clear, which is where I do this. Hold on, let me just grab this pen. So I'll typically go here, then here, and then I can decide to gank if there's something that's good. Otherwise, if that doesn't work out, I can just go here, 4, 5. I can pressure mid lane, or I can decide to go straight for a bot lane. If nothing is happening at 5, I can either decide to invade if I have pressure, like I can invade this guy, or I can just simply clear my Krugs and then contest this Scuttle Crab if I know that Hecarim is pathing down here. I will be making a guide to like the build that I'm currently using. However, I'm just going to focus mainly on my gameplay with this game. So against the Blitzcrank, I call for our team to stack in the bush, because if Blitzcrank face checks us with his team, we can just burst them down really quickly. I always put this ward down here. This is my ward against Blitzcrank invades, because we'll expect the one up here, and then we can see if the one down here is coming. So I know this fight is a little chaotic. However, it's very simple from your perspective. When the enemy team face checks you like this, you want to start E so that you can get your splash damage on their entire team, which is exactly what I did there. It will slow down my clear by just a little bit. However, I can still do red buff on my own and then take W next to help speed up my clear. This first red buff though, since I took so much damage, I'm going to smite this one. Typically, I don't clear like this. I know we discussed in my plan that I wanted to reverse clear and like potentially go down to bot lane. However, because they invaded us, and we predicted they invaded us, I'm forced to clear my bot side and clear upwards into the set. So as I'm moving over into my top side, I'm thinking right now of a potential invade, because Hecarim has pressure in the top side. We predicted earlier that Set would have early prio, because Alawi is a weaker champion in the early stages of the game. Like, she's pretty low right now. So we just have to consider, you see how Set just went missing here, that they are invading me. This is a potential threat. From most games though, I understand that Hecarim is a full clearing jungler, so we don't want to assume. Well, I guess we do want to assume he's full clearing, because if he ganks me or invades me there, he most likely won't get much, and it will just slow down his clear, which is not very helpful for a Hecarim. This game, we actually have like no idea where he cleared, just because of how we started the game. We started kind of chaotic. Here I got the first crab, and I don't know, we have vision on the other crab, so I was pathing down to it, and we see Hecarim here at level 4. We see him ganking. I ping for this. He has no camps up. We see that he has no camps up because if we press tab, we know he has 28 CS. However, Annie just pushes up, and I'm kind of behind Hecarim, So I go in here for the Q. Here, I see that he has like really low HP and he had a denting blows proc, so I flash auto, but he survives with like literally 6 HP, which is very unlucky. Just resetting here is not much to do. It's kind of risky going for this Gromp because Hecarim's going to reset and go straight for that Gromp, and my team is kind of low. So even though I have prio, it's kind of a risky play. So I'm just going to opt to reset and then just start clearing my camps. My first back, I get a Dirk. A Dirk is plenty amount of damage to actually take early dragons. So on Vi, you always want to consider trying to go for early dragons here. I predict that the Hecarim's just going to go back to his Gromp and start clearing upwards again. So I try to sneak this dragon in. I have Sweeper. I do have Sweeper. I should sweep this. I'm not sure why I don't, but whenever you go for sneaky plays like this, you always want to sweep it, just in case the enemy tries to rotate to you and kill you. That's like a game losing play. But yeah, right now, my tracking on Hecarim is good now. I can tell where he is just based off our last interaction. I know that he's somewhere up here in the top side. So I think I even pinged the Alawi away. My plan right now is simply just to clear and try to get level 6, and then we can start making plays on the prime targets that we mentioned earlier. My Alawi solo kills the set top lane, which is actually insanely good for me because Herald's going to be coming up soon, and I want pressure in the top lane so I can take that objective. After we take the dragon, and work our way trying to take that, you always want to go to the next objective if you can, if it's in your means. I have 6 now, and Herald is coming up soon, so I will potentially look for a gank on this set. I usually wouldn't gank set, but seeing that Alawi solo killed him under tower, I'm feeling more confident. I also have 6. I'm pretty strong right now. I'm also looking at this fight over here, and I start pathing over there. He flashes, follows him, he gets the auto attack off, and he kills him. Unfortunately, I show right here so the enemy team knows I'm somewhere on the top side. However, since Kennen kills the Viego there, I go back to the original plan of trying to put pressure top lane so I can take the Herald. To my surprise, Hecarim is also ganking bot lane, which makes this really good for me. So he can't counter gank me top, and I can get the Herald even if this play doesn't work out. So I put pressure top lane, and now I can also take this Herald with the prio that I just gained from putting pressure top lane. Sometimes your ganks don't always have to be like you kill the person. You can get their flash like we did in that gank, and then just use the pressure that you create to get an objective. If you ever have a lead like that, like how we got a little lead in the early game of the early stage of the game when they invaded us, you always want to just like hyper focus on your objectives. You want to try to plan for them a minute ahead of time so you can be there at the right time. And a lot of the times you can just fly through a game collecting all objectives, especially on Vi. So I think I need like one more camp or a few more camps for my Eclipse buy, so I'm actually waiting. I'm not basing yet, I'm just waiting. Unfortunately, the Alawi, she gets ganked by the Viego mid lane. I must be really close to my Eclipse, that's why I'm staying. Normally I wouldn't stay, I would just reset and then like buy. But if I'm really close to a power spike as strong as Eclipse, then I'll stay just to get the amount of gold that's right. So my plan right now is, now that dragon is spawning in about a minute, is to try to play for bot side to set up for that dragon that's incoming. It would be really valuable if I could get my power spike right before the fight, because that's going to make the chances of us winning there really, really strong. So once I full clear down, I can reset. I'm most likely going to buy my eclipse and I'm going to run straight back to bot side. You don't want to make the mistake of going back to your top side to full clear again. I accidentally paused here. That was my little misstep there. I think I pressed S on my keyboard. But again, you don't want to go top to clear down again because you want to do something with the gold that you have. Like we have this objective coming. We have like our bot lane pressuring bot side with prio. It's kind of neutral in the mid lane. I could go and try to get prio for this dragon, but we see a Hecarim top lane, which makes it so easy for us to just take this dragon for free. Even though we haven't ganked so much this game, we've been efficient with our clearing and our pathing, which is securing this early game for us. We got this early lead by them invading our jungle with the Blitzcrank at the very start, and now we're just pressing our advantage by just keeping up in the tempo on the objectives. Here I can pressure mid lane. I'm going to drop Rift here. This is not really to take plates or to like drop the tower. It's mainly to pressure the mid lane to open up this game. We see Blitzcrank miss his hook. So the Blitzcrank actually comes over and matches my pressure, which is really actually good of him. However, if Viego stays, he most likely will die because I have ulti and so does Cannon. He can't really hold this off of us. And now the Blitzcrank, he was forced to go back because he can't really leave his Veigar for long. I'm pinging for the Cannon to press on our pressure, and since Viego can't follow us, we are potentially looking for a dive onto their back line here, even under their tower. We see Hecarim here, but I'm very confident with my team, so I go onto the Hecarim straight away. Although the Blitzcrank dies, we do get the Hecarim, which is really nice. And now, after all of that happened, all the pressure we applied, we can just go back to clearing. We're really low right now. We can't be effective in a fight. It's going to be a waste of time trying to continue doing anything here. So we just go back to simply clearing up and just being efficient with our gold. We're very close to actually getting our upgraded jungle item where we feed our pet 40 stacks. So right now, that's going to be like our next power spike. Once you get that jungle item, it's very, very helpful because it allows you to maneuver around the map very, very quickly. But not only that, it also gives you more gank opportunities and allows you to play fights more dangerously, because now you have like an escape tool of every time you touch a bush, you just gain a lot of movement speed. So you can go in and come out of a fight really quickly and chase people down as well. Say you land a full Q auto E combo. You can chase that person down and you can save your ultimate, which is huge pressure against the enemy team. So now we're full clearing up towards top side again. I'm going to take the Hex Tape behind. We have pressure top lane, so I'm not afraid of invading here. We also see Hecarim bot side, so it's easy for me to just come here and just punish him by taking his camps. Also, me being here also applies pressure onto the set. And Cannon also rotated over, so now Set is under a lot of pressure. He most likely is going to drop this tower, or at the very least we'll be able to take this herald. I actually go for the invade onto the Hecarim's raptors. But however, when I went onto him, I misplayed my combo and he ends up killing me under tower, which is really bad by me. That was a mistake on my part. However, since we've still been, this is probably like the biggest mistake we made so far in the game. However, we've still applied so much pressure this game. It's heavily in our favor to win. So I'm going to quickly queue over, take this portal and try to get to the herald as fast as possible. We still have some pressure top lane. Alawi's going to go back to top lane, clear this wave, and try to help me on this herald. We see mid lane also giving us prio here. Cannon's rotating over, so we can get this herald relatively easily. Alawi's keeping the set in lane, so we don't have to worry about him rotating over. I just pulled the herald away because I don't want anyone like jumping over here and trying to steal this. Like if Hecarim is here. You see Viego trying to shove in this wave, however it's too late. And Cannon makes it back to his wave, missing like 2 minions, but that's okay. Like 2 minions for herald is great. And so we're going into our bot side. We don't have to worry about an invade because we see the Veigar basing and we see the Blitzcrank right here. I queue over. I think I'm like trying to scout if the Blitzcrank is alone. Remember we talked about that in the previous discussion, like on like how I want to play the game. Again, if we can catch the Blitzcrank before the fight starts at the dragon, that would be huge. That's kind of what the play I was looking for there. I was seeing if he was setting up vision. We saw the pink ward here. My main goal was to go and drop this tower over here. The enemy team tries to engage on me, but I kite back to the end of the wall and like get in range of the Annie's ultimate and Kennen flashing over to engage with his R. So the enemy team actually end up flubbing there and Blitzcrank gets picked, allowing us to get another free dragon. Typically, you don't want to be engaging first into the enemy team. However, I landed Q on Hecarim first, so that allowed me to burst him down to prevent him from like fully committing to killing me. And I was right by my team by being on the other side of the wall of them, so it all worked out. The main reason why we're able to get all these dragons, by the way, is because of the weak Veigar pick in the bot lane. You have to take advantage of these picks. If you see scaling champions like a Kayle in the top lane, or like I don't know, the Veigar in the bot lane, you want to abuse those lanes. Make sure that the lanes get prowl, make sure they're safe from jungle ganks, and then just pressure really hard on that side of the map. Like whenever I see people pick Gnosis and like Kayle and any like scaling champions, I always abuse the objective on that side of the map because it's just so easy to take control of it, and the enemy jungler can never win like the 2v1, the 2v2. So it looks like Alawi's being collapsed on here. I see like their entire team, so I'm not pathing here at all. Like, however, I know I can stay relatively close because as long as I touch bushes, I can like run away from them very quickly. So I'm not too scared of them. I know my range to escape them is far. So luckily, we have the Hecarim face check me and Annie, so we can just pop him really quickly, fully commit on him, and then we can just straight up win the fight afterwards. It was very bad of the Hecarim to face check that. He should not have done that. So here I'm actually trying to chase down the Blitzcrank to see if he's like trying to cheese his recall. If he tries to get like a recall that's not too far back, I'm going to punish it. However, he's not here, so I just end up clearing wards. And then I move on over to mid lane and start like pressuring mid lane really hard. Since like Veigar's dead on the map, and the bot lane, or the enemy like AD carry or AP carry in this case, is the one that should be protecting this lane, I'm going to shove it out while he's down, and now he's going to miss this CS. Like this should be his CS, but look, now the Hecarim is the one that has to take it because he's dead. And I don't know why he's topside. He should be mid right now. I don't know, he's like trying to flank or something. This is not really what you want to do on Veigar. He's walking over wards. We know he's somewhere over here though. I don't really care to do anything right now. I don't see any potential objectives to take. So now I'm just here clearing my camps. See, whenever I move around the map, what I'm doing is I'm actually touching bushes so I can accelerate my movement around the map like immensely. I can just zoom around. I'm gonna wait for my Q cooldown and then get engaged on him. He flashes, so I R to follow him. He buffers my RCC, but I speed up with the bush and land my Q. He cancels my auto attack E animation, which makes me actually take a tower shot there, and it's gonna make me lose this duel against Hecarim. So that was the one thing we discussed in the earlier parts of the game. If I'm fighting Viego, like he can buffer my ults and he can escape, and he makes it very hard to like really stick onto him if you're trying to chase him. We were able to chase onto him, but his W actually canceled my auto attack E animation, so I stayed under tower longer than I needed to, and Hecarim was able to like follow up on me. In that process there, what I could have done was, after he flashed, I could have just gave up, like not knowing where the rest of the enemy team was. I could have prevented that death. I honestly don't think that killing Viego there for myself is worth it. It's better for me to stay on the map and pressure, If he flashes away and he's low HP, he's kind of useless anyways, so I don't really have to worry about him. And that was like overcommitting for like no reason. I really didn't have to do that. So I see my team dying. Whenever your team is dead and you can't really make any plays, you just want to farm your camps. Like, there's nothing else to do. I can't really go up here. Even this guy's low. Even though this guy is low. We did see Blitzcrank recall, but Vacart could still be in the area, so we're not exactly sure. It's just a risky play to make. Like, I just made a risky play already and it didn't work out, so I'm not thinking, oh, I want to make a risky play right now. However, I do come over here and check to see if he's still in the area and he did not recall. I don't see him. I think I just saw someone here. I think I just saw someone here. I think I saw the Blitzcrank. I try to find him, but I don't end up finding him, unfortunately. I don't stay topside. I can't really push that wave. I need to be here for this last dragon. The soul is really, really nice here. It will help us really close out this game. And we really have like the lead in this game right now. So I wasn't following myself. I'm going to go back a bit. We're really taking the reins of this game and like we're controlling it. I'm trying to get in position to flank around on the enemy team. We see Hacker face check me, but I see the set, so I Q auto E and just run away. I use this speed to maneuver around. I see Set alone here. I don't really want to be targeting the Set though, like that's not my target. I see Viego, I Q auto E him, I R, and then I finish him off. I get ulted and I don't want to get bursted, so I immediately pop stopwatch. I get pulled over by the Blitzcrank, so I just spam my Q, my shield procs and my eclipse procs, and that actually saves me baiting the enemy team dying into my cannon. And because we were playing so well earlier on, even though I got put into a bad position where I went onto targets I didn't want to, we discussed like I don't want to be really going on the Viego and onto the Set, I still was able to carry out that game just because we're a lot stronger right now. That fight could have been played a little bit better. Like I probably didn't need to panic stopwatch right away. However, I was just assuming I was going to get bursted, so I used it. A lot of the time you can bait the enemy team to wait beside you when you're stopwatch, but if your teammates are nearby, like they can help you escape. And they end up surrendering right there, and we win this game. Hopefully you enjoyed this this episode of a one trick breakdown, and this is Klassicalkill out. If you made it to the end of the video, send me an email with proof you subbed to the channel and I'll give you a free coaching session.